Welcome back everyone to a new video on my channel JP Zone TV. Now, it's been a while since my last upload, I think like 2 years, but I recently have been starting to play Satisfactory again after it launched its 1.0 version and got inspired by like a shit ton of content and like new players and whatever, and also saw a huge uprise in my videos again, so I was motivated in uploading again. And what you can see here in the background is my factory, my rubber and plastic factory, which I'm currently building in my save for, which I may make a video or not, but just for leisure activities. And it produces 4,000 rubber and 4,000 plastic per minute, which is just insane. Now, if you want to see how I did that and which recipes I did and why I think that this one recipe is so broken, please stay on and watch the video. Also, just if you want to skip the whole explanation part about plastic, wood and rubber and different alternative recipes, skip to the time that I've linked. Otherwise, enjoy the video. So let's start and hop right in with the basic recipes. First, let's look at what it actually is. Here you can see the basic plastic recipe. Quite simply, 30 crude oil, 20 plastic, and 10 heavy oil residue. Nothing special, again here, and the plastic ratio of 1.5 to 1, which means 1.5 oil will be 1 plastic. This obviously is the same as with rubber. You can see here 30 to 20, and here 20 heavy oil residue. Just a bit more than plastic, but not just. And again, a rubber conversion ratio of 1.5 to 1. Now you may ask yourself, that is a bit low and the efficiency is not quite good. Is there a better alternative? And I can tell you already, yes, there is. And this is what this video is all about. Because in the end, the plastic and the rubber will be crucial, especially in electronics, and you will need a lot of them, speaking of experience. Now, what is the alternative? Well, this is what we're gonna look at right now. It is the alternative recycled plastic and rubber recipes. Now you may ask yourself, wait a minute, 30 plastic for 12 rubber, that is 6 plastic for 12 rubber, but I need fuel and I need plastic to get rubber. Let me walk you through the whole process. This in the end will give us a oil to output of 1 to 3 instead of 1.5 to 1, which is significantly better. We're gonna check and just do it step by step right now. Now what you can see here is the basic process of recycled plastic. And first, obviously, the oil will go into a refinery producing heavy oil residue. Now we come later to a byproduct. More importantly is again the heavy oil residue, which will go into a blender. And keep in mind there is a lot of water involved in this, so you might want to keep a balance, as you saw in my video in the background. Now, more importantly, this produces a lot of fuel, 100 fuel per minute per blender. And then quite easily we combine it with rubber. And as we typed before, but I need rubber. Well, as you can see here, you need 50 rubber to produce 100 plastic. And if you keep in mind that it goes vice versa, you need 50 plastic to produce 100 rubber, you can see where this is going. This will go into an endless loop that increases and increases your plastic and rubber as long as you can keep up with fuel. Now, the polymer resin is quite nice here because you can use that actually and implement it to produce plastic and rubber as a byproduct, meaning you get even further up. If you want to be really efficient, you'll use it as a kickstart. So now let's talk about the actual process. The first thing we're going to look into is the heavy oil residue. And as you can see, I prepared. As we look into, there are actually 4 ways to get heavy oil residue. Obviously through plastic and rubber, as we saw before, but also through polymer resin, which could be a nice thing to talk about. However, this is not what we're facing on because it just gives only 20 heavy oil residue through 60 crude oil, which is not a good ratio. The one we look into is the alternative heavy oil residue recipe. 30 crude oil gives us 40 heavy oil residue and 20 polymer resin as a byproduct, which is nice, and I'm coming to that later again. So we can see 30 crude oil is 40 heavy oil residue. Now when it comes to fuel, we have 3 options. The first thing is the basic fuel recipe, which doesn't include heavy oil residue at all. It is 60 crude oil to 40 fuel, with a ratio again of 1.5 oil to 1 fuel. This recipe is not ideal at all because you lose so much oil by producing fuel, and there are 2 better recipes, actually 3 better recipes than using this one, because the 30 polymer resin really can't make it up. The second one would be residual fuel. So it's 60 heavy oil residue gives us 40 fuel, which is a far better ratio already because we are only using 60 heavy oil residue, which means 45 crude oil through 40 fuel, which is a ratio of around 1.1 to 1, meaning 1.1 cubic meters of oil is 1 cubic meter of fuel. However, what we're gonna look into is the best recipe in this game by far, diluted fuel. We get
through 50 heavy oil residue and 100 cubic meters of water. Keep in mind, this number is quite high and you need a lot of water pumps, as I said, but it gives us 100 fuel. And this is insane, because this means 37.5 crude oil is 100 fuel, or a ratio of 1 to 3. This is what you want to go into. And I know that a blender is not cheap, because as we can see here, a blender does cost quite a bit of money, and it is obviously also expensive. It's not that we have it already, it's also one tier above. What I would suggest is set up a basic structure here before, and then beeline this one thing, because you need it for the fuel production as well, for the turbo fuel and for plastic. Okay, pause. Future Julian here. And I realized while editing that I completely left out this one packaged diluted fuel recipe, which you can see. The reason I left it out, and I thought it's good to clarify, is because it takes packaged water and it gives you packaged fuel. Now in theory, yes, if you want just fuel, this is a good thing. However, if we're looking into producing plastic, we would need to package water and then unpackage fuel again, which in total is just a lengthy process, which in my opinion, and for the sake of the video, I left out. If you want to do everything I just told you and just swap the blender with 2 packager processes, feel free to do so. It's the same process and the same output ratios. Just be warned, you have a lot of space that it will sacrifice for that. Now let's quickly go over the whole process. I have set up here the simplest version ever. I will show you now afterwards my big factory. But the basic concept is just a loop, as you can see here, with 2 refineries. That's all you need. 2 refineries and a simulated fuel input in this case, but this is where your fuel would come in now. Now, what you have to do here is basically set up one recipe with plastic. The other recipe you will set up with rubber. Why are you doing this? Well, it's easy, because you can see already 6 plastic, 12 rubber, and 6 rubber, 12 plastic, with the cost of fuel again. This means it comes out here. You see rubber coming out here, going in here, which you need to produce 12 plastic, and again coming in, coming out, and again and again and again. It's like a cycle. So how do we capitalize on that? Well, it's easy. We get ourselves a smart splitter. This is very important. It has to be a smart splitter, because you have to configure it. What is really important here is, again, the center output has to have priority. Everything has to go there first. And then what you do is you have your overflow output on the left or on the right side, depending on where you want to do. But this means that everything goes first into your main process and then into getting your storage. Now you'll have guaranteed 30 rubber going out here, 100%, because the refinery can't keep up with the process. And this is everything you need. You do the same thing on the other side with rubber and plastic. That is the whole process, how to 5x your ores. I'm going to show you now how I did it in a huge way. Now, as I told you, this is my save game world right now, where I'm in the coastal area and I try to get all the oil nodes here available, which are 4 nodes and 1 well. And I'm producing 4,000 rubber and 4,000 plastic. The oil comes in here where I have all my residual fuel production and residue, which will be processed downstairs because I don't have space. And then we have all the water reservoirs. And I told you, you need a lot of water. And I'm not kidding. Like, these are all base clocked. None of them are overclocked because I have the space and I really don't want to use my energy. It's already using 20,000 megawatts. And these pipelines going in here into the downwards area into 36 blenders, all on base clock again. And please keep in mind that this is not complete yet. I still have to wrap it up. But again, fuel production, it's halted right now because I just can't use the rubber right now. And this is what you can do when you scale this basic thing from a circle to this. Now, what I did here is something really cool in my opinion, because I have the plastic production downstairs and the rubber production upstairs. Because I'm using belts, which also looks fucking amazing, but I have these belts that will put the rubber up and then the plastic down, input, output simultaneously in a loop. The same loop that we saw in 2D is now vertical, and you have my smart splitters and everything downstairs here, which looks insane. And I just want to cover it because I had no patience to actually do that. Now guys, to conclude this video, let's make a short summary of everything you need to know. If you have 1,000 oil available and you want to convert that into plastic and rubber, then there are 2 options. You have the diluted fuel recipe and the recycled one, which you would get out of 1,000 oil, 1,500 plastic, and 1,500 rubber, which is a total output of 3,000 product. Compared to if you want to use the basic recipe, 1,000 oil would give you either 660 plastic or 660 oil. So I'm sorry, but it's really not worth it. It is worth it for an alternative solution, in my opinion, to quickly set something up and to have it for the time being, but not for long term. Again, this is a factory game. Everyone can play however they want. If you just want to use the basic recipe, go ahead. I'm just saying from an efficiency point of view, use the other one. What are the pros and cons? The pros arguments for the alternative recipe are it has an insane output, which is 5 times the output that the regular one is. It is easily scalable because, as you saw with this cycle, you can just do this cycle as often as you want to and set it up modularly. With blueprints, that's even easy. You have no annoying byproducts because the only byproduct you have, you will convert to plastic and rubber again. Compared to the other one, you would have heavy oil residue. And I know that you could technically do plastic out of that again, but that would make it into fuel, and that was the whole process that we did not want to do. So the only negative sides on this one are it is definitely more complicated than setting up one refinery because you need a whole different process before that. It is also definitely way more power intensive because it uses a lot. The blenders, the water extractors and everything use a lot of power. It sums up. So if you have a power problem, wait, get a bigger power factory and then do it. And obviously it takes up way more space and you need a bigger factory. You've seen the massive factory in the background. Now, the pro and con arguments for the basic recipe are obviously it is less complicated. It's less space. It also uses less power. And the cons, again, you have a byproduct. It's hard to scale because yes, you can just put more refineries in, but at some point you will run out of oil rather quickly because you don't have enough oil on this map. And the last thing, obviously, it is horribly efficient. But again, what do you need? You need the alternative recipe, heavy oil residue, the alternative recipe, diluted fuel, or packaged diluted fuel, depending on what you want to do, and recycled plastic and recycled rubber. Meaning, let's go on an adventure, get some hard drives and get that thing going. Now that was everything for today, guys. It was my first video in a while. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to improve my quality. I hope to improve everything. And if you loved this video and you want to support me, leave a like here or give a comment. Tell me if I did something wrong. I love constructive criticism because I really want to react to that and change my ways on your opinions. Thanks, guys. Have a good day.